Podcast, the best of the underground. Make madness your ritual.
Hey folks, how's it going? First of all, I want to say thank you for checking out the video and maybe checking out some of the other videos and podcast and live casts that we've done here on YouTube. I am Greg. They call me the Hexagon. I am the owner, operator, I guess, of ritualmadnesspodcast.com. And I guess I wanted to kind of give a little background on who I am and what gives me any sort of credibility, I guess, to be a podcaster here in the Twin Cities, about the specific stuff that I'm into, the local bands that we cover here. So basically, I started playing in the music scene here in the Twin Cities about around 17. And I've been playing in various bands. I played in a band called Lobotomy back in the day, a band called Necromus for a good long stretch, and then I played in a band called Sublevel, which a lot of people enjoyed around here a little bit. And then we did some small tours and just runs out on the weekends and things like that. But I've been playing for quite some time. Got back together with Necromus again, and I am currently in a band called Outside the Murder. And I've been in the music scene here for a really long time. I know a lot of bands. I also book at a club called Lee's Liquor Lounge in Minneapolis as well. And a few years ago, I'm working on my 6th year now here at ritualmadnesspodcast.com. I started the podcast with a friend of mine, Jordan Swanson, who also played in a band called Outside the Murder as well, and he played in Echoes of the Fallen. He did a couple shows with American Head Charge. He also plays in a band called the Omega Sequence. Jordan was going to school for music and things like that, and business and all this other stuff, and engineering and all this art stuff. And we talked about possibly doing a podcast. I actually brought the idea up to him, and he said he needed to do something like that for a class. I said, let's do it, man. Let's get together and put it down. So really, I had been listening to podcasts, the typical ones, a lot of comedy podcasts and metal podcasts. And I just enjoyed them. I drove around a lot. I worked as a courier, so I had a chance to listen to podcasts all the time. So I was really interested in doing podcast and how to get it started. And I had no idea how to get things going. So I was really talking to Jordan, and he said, hey man, we should just do it. We know so many bands in the Twin Cities, and we should focus on the underground and the metal scene here in the Twin Cities. So basically what we did is I had a lot of the equipment already. I had a small mixing board, had a bunch of mics from being in bands and stuff, and I figured, hey, why not give it a shot? I got a little Zoom recorder, and we kind of went from there. Right out of the gate, we did a 3-hour podcast, so we were setting the bar high right away. So it was very fun. A lot of mistakes were made. There's still a lot of mistakes. I mean, podcasting is not perfect. It's about the flaws, I guess. And so we started doing the podcast primarily for supporting the local music scene here in the Twin Cities. I have worked in tattoo shops, and I've been around a lot of artists my entire life, really. And so I wanted to showcase, local artists and bands and things that I was really into. And Jordan was the same way. He felt the same way about the scene and the art and everything like that. So we thought it would be a great platform to get together and put it down that way and try to help promote some of these local bands that we have here in the Twin Cities. There's a ton of really talented musicians in the Twin Cities, and we thought we would shine a light on some of that. So that's how Ritual Madness Podcast really was born, and what it kind of stands for is supporting the underground and trying to promote a lot. So I've been updating the YouTube page and the Instagram page and the Twitter page and a bunch of different things that we got going on here at ritualmadnesspodcast.com. I've at this particular time, I have 170 episodes from the very beginning. I mean, Jordan did probably the first quarter the first couple of years, I believe, that we were together doing podcasts. And we just kind of went separate ways. And Jordan has been on the podcast a million times after with his bands and everything like that. But I really wanted to keep it going and to be consistent and try to make it, make it a solid thing that I could do on a regular basis. I mean, when we first started, we were doing one or two podcasts a week. And, like I said, at this particular time, I had 171 episodes. I was just really wanting to just keep going with it and meeting new bands. And, big shout out to Will Maravellis from 1459 and Zero Budget Records, Rob Carlson from Twin Town Tyrant Records here in the Twin Cities, and Bill Gelbert from Metal Soda for turning me on to a lot of different bands as well. I mean, I already knew a ton of bands here in the Twin Cities, and I thought, why not try to get some of them on and get chatting with them and try to shed the light on how it is here in the Twin Cities. And excuse me, a lot of the time when you're at a metal concert or a friend's concert, you go there, you see the band, and the band themselves don't have a lot of time to sit down and chat with you. You might buy them a drink, you might, have a smoke with them or whatever, but there's not a lot of time to sit down and get to know these people. And if you're a fan of local music, you go check out a lot of these local bands. You want to get to know some of them, and you might run into them at different concerts, at national events or things like that. And it's fun. So what I really wanted to do, or what Jordan and myself wanted to do when we started the podcast, was really showcase who these folks are and their talents and their band's music and what really inspired them to do the type of music that they were doing. So I think that we do a good representation of that as far as that on Ritual Madness podcast. But it was, it's still important to me to today, and we've been doing this, like this is our 6th year being on the air and recording and doing live shows and things like that. So I really wanted to kind of give a background and what we were trying to do and what we're trying to do still to this day. And the support is amazing. It's growing every time we do an episode. We seem to find the bands that their friends want to tune in and they want to check it out. And been doing solid numbers, steady for going on 6 years now, which I'm super thankful for and happy about. So hopefully the listening and listenership will keep going, and we're trying to do we're going to continue to broadcast and do bring local bands to whoever's listening. So hopefully you're checking it out. Do me a favor, check out ritualmadnesspodcast.com. There's a ton of episodes. You can check that out. There's links and pictures and all kinds of good stuff. I really appreciate you taking the time to even watch this video to see what it's all about. And we'll try to continue to bring you more content and more cool stuff. And again, I really appreciate your support and hope you have a great night. Take care.